speed up the succession because the ryegrass has like a 1-to-1 fungal to bacteria ratio, whereas the other plants typically are like 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, or further off. And in old growth forests, you get very fungal dominated. And so this is just the process. If I were to just go and put in fruit trees in there, in this, I'd be struggling. I'd be fighting a lot of the elements. I need that soil to be covered and protected. If I were to just be planting in there, it'd be rough. So this pioneers it. This helps speeds up the process so we don't have to wait years. This is my brother laying in it 4 weeks later. So you all saw the seeds out there. And so this is what it does to the soil, the environment. This is water regenerative, which is putting more into the ground than we use every single year. So it's like a water bank. And a lot of people are sucking it out. They have wells everywhere. Everyone's taking and taking. No one's putting water back into the system. And water is Earth's blood. We're depositing it into our subsoil in the system and allowing it to move throughout the landscapes. It's not just being held like you'd imagine a pond or a puddle or something. This is moving through the vegetation.
This was after a rain, of course.
It's not really recent, but yes, we time our seeds. We do biodynamic farming, which is like moon cycles and phases, but we time it with rainfalls as well. And so we threw out our seeds right before the rain, and we threw out millions and millions of seeds. And this is just like a section that our neighbors can see from the street, and also is by our entrance, which is part of the feng shui and having that living, inviting energy to it. But yeah, a lot of people are taking from this water bank. They just take and they take and they take and they accumulate a big debt. And after a time, it causes major problems having these major debts. You're not able to just go back and pay it off like you know, oh, we'll take another one and pay it off, or whatever they do nowadays. You really have to work that. And so
what is that you planted there? Is that like a cover crop?
that's part of the cover crop. So that's going to be rye and oat and stuff that you're seeing. So that's probably mostly oat and triticale, which is a hybrid.
Okay, with rye and oats, it gets fairly tall. Do you weed whack it down, or do you just let it die on its own?
What most people do is before it goes to seed, they do something called terminating it. And so if they don't want that to grow there, they're trying to grow trees, but they're just speeding up the process, getting life in the soil, and getting it to hold. They terminate it before it goes to seed, and they chop and drop, and that feeds the soil right there.
It's beautiful.
And yeah, like I said, this is just four weeks after.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So you just mow it and let it lay?
Yes.
You don't dig it back into the ground?
No, just chop and drop. That initial dig is the only one dig we ever do. We don't dig. Nature doesn't dig. If you see nature digging, it's probably a landslide, or an earthquake or something. Nothing that I'm trying to simulate in my garden, So like nature just adds on. It just adds layers and layers on, and that's kind of what the system does. These trees, whether we chop them or not, the leaves are going to fall in, everything's going to fall and feed it, and it's going to capture it. And you can actually come up to these swales and berms and see the leaf litter deposited all along because it rises at a level. And then as it goes down, you just see it everywhere. It's fertilizing. It's self-fertilizing. Every time it gets wet, it makes compost heat. So it feeds all the microbes. And we are also a mushroom drop-off spot. So we have spent mushrooms, and we bury logs in there. I didn't get a good photo of it on this image, but
You're a jerky?
okay. Yeah. And so we buried logs in here. These trenches are actually 2 feet deep, about a knee high. A very big juniper logs in there. We put mushroom blocks and make my own compost teas. We do biochar, and then we mulch on top of it. We basically create a forest floor that we can walk on. It's like a sponge, feels like a trampoline almost. And it can take severe droughts. Last year we had over 3 months of 100-degree weather with no rain. You know, we had no rain, and we had moisture. We had to dig down, not even an inch, there was moisture and everything. And so we were actually drought-proofing the landscape. And what happens in summertime is our pollinators have no water because it's not raining. And we have thick morning dew. I walk outside and it's dripping out there. It's coming off our solar panels and stuff. And it's just amazing to see that, because I'm like, it hasn't rained in months, but here it is every day.
So how long is it that you started that? You came from just regular real country, hard, flat ground, and nothing grows on to this? To how long?
So 16 months we've been working on this. This is about 10 months into the project. And yeah, the results are very quick. A lot of people talk about carbon and gardening, but really water gardening is where it's very popular. And they're trending across the world because you get quick results. People see this and they get very motivated and like, wow, I need to bring this back home. We need to do this. You know, because what happens is big corporations are buying out all the water supplies. And then we all need water, all the kids, all the future generations all need water. But they're like, oh, that's our resource. And that's not right. We need to decentralize it and refill our springs